Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, James, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. Me, Adam Hunter, waiting for McCorkle to come. Don Fry, it's a crapshoot. I'm not sure he even knows he missed last week. But it's going to be a great...
Didn't he show up for a few seconds at some point? Wasn't he in there for a few?
Nah.
We never had him.
But the week before, he told me it was the highlight of his week. He's like, dude, I want to thank you for letting me do the show, man. He goes, letting you do the show, bro, you have no idea like how much of an honor it is, number one. But not number two, like, he's like, you would think someone saying that this is the highlight, would then not miss the next week. But
yeah, well, we don't really know what all Don is going through, and we don't pry. It's kind of like up to him to kind of let us know what he feels like telling us. But Don's Don.
No, when
Don's
he told me he was getting a brain tumor removed, I believed him.
Right, because you never know. It absolutely could be true.
Yeah. So
and the brain tumor is here.
So Skinny McCorkle's here. Skinny McCorkle's here. Wow, holy fuck, you look thin. Sean, you look great.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. It's I don't know. There's something about giving up on life that makes it easy not to eat. So I don't know what it is. I did before I forget. I want to tell you guys. Did you just see the article MMA Mania posted that talked about Bruce Buffer?
No.
Oh boy, no.
It was awesome. It said years ago, Bruce Buffer admits he was choked out by a UFC fighter in an elevator or something. I was like, no,
that's you, right? No.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I don't believe anything can choke Bruce Buffer at this point. Let's be honest.
Oh my God.
That guy has
no,
more-
wasn't it? Who was it?
It was Frank
Trigg. That's right, Trigg, because he was trying to talk to Dana. And I remember he told the story. Did he say it told on this podcast? About how he was trying to talk to Dana about another fight, and then Buffer started going, "Look at my watch! Look at this new watch I got!" Obviously, trying to change the subject, and so Trigg fucking just went off on him. I remember that.
But allegedly, he held his own against Trigg, and Trigg kind of confirmed that. So
according to Buffer, I don't know about that.
But by the way, so wrestling. So our kids had our big tournament, by the way. And normally, Sean came and saw my practice. Normally, I get some athletes, right? It used to be, there was a direct correlation. The kids would get in detention. And then my athletic director, who's great, would say, oh, you either get detention or you have to join the wrestling team. So I would get these like ADHD fucking psychos. But it was great.
That's one way to field a team.
I'm like, why is every kid crazy? Well, they stopped doing that. So now, like, this team that I had was like the softest team. Like, it was like literally the kids. I'd be like, hey guys, we have a tournament tomorrow. Wear your wrestling shoes. One little kid's like, my dog ate my shoelaces, and he was serious. I'm like, your dog ate your shoelaces, really? This girl on my team, like, I can't do sprawls. Why? My grandma had breast cancer. I'm like, guys, that's not going to affect your sprawls. Finally, I just made him do 100. I had enough. It was like, I had enough. So I thought we were going to come in. We're the defending champions. I'm like, we're coming in, 9th out of 4 teams. Like, we're not, there's no way.
You said 9th out of 4?
Yes. We're like, there's no way. We're not. I mean, we're getting slaughtered. Every other team in the league got like really good. Somebody put $20 million into one program, and they have like the Olympic judo team training there. And I'm like, we're going to get fucking murdered.
So somebody's parent is part of the Russian mob. Is what you're saying. Okay.
Exactly. Dude, we actually came in 3rd out of 4th, and I was thrilled. Like, I was actually so happy with coming in 3rd.
That's a testament to your coaching, that you gave them good enough coaching that despite a total lack of physical ability, they still managed to beat somebody.
We beat Harbor Westlake, which was like, a team that has like, it's like $50,000 a year to go there. So
they're a rich school. Yeah.
But there's one girl on the team who's ranked on Huntington, who's ranked 2nd in the world in judo. Like, she's just like, she just throws. So she pinned my kid in the finals. And then the girl on my team starts cheering for her, going, that was awesome. Oh, like they're friends. So I had to tell her, hey, listen, come here for a second. If somebody beats our teammate, your teammate, you're not going to cheer for the other kid. She's like, but that's my friend. I don't care that's your friend. I'll do it afterwards. Like this kid feels bad enough. Now he has his own teammates cheering for the other kid. Like that's
could have threatened her with detention if she did it again, but she would just be right back in the wrestling room, so it wouldn't work much of a
It's a revolving door situation. It's a revolving door situation.
Dude, the reason I got this job like 15 years ago, I was on Craigslist and they were like looking for wrestling coach, right? I'm like, I could do that. I need a part-time job. I show up there, right? And the guy's like, what do you know about the adult wrestling league? I go, nothing. He's basically like, you're hired. So the guy before me went there and was part of some kind of adult wrestling league and wanted to use the mats afterwards for the transgender nude wrestling society or something, where they all meet and wrestle naked, like adults. And they looked into it and they were like, yeah, we can't have adult people wrestling naked in like an AM middle school. So me not knowing anything about this basically got me the job. But
what do you know about it? Nothing. Perfect. You're hired. We need plausible deniability. That's the most important piece here.
So I got the job and I had to leave for a trip to Africa or something. So I needed a coach. So my friend Dixon, remember Dixon Matthews? He told me he used to wrestle. I'm like, oh, can you help coach his kids? He did WWE, ECW wrestling. So I come back and the kids were fucking DDTs, like doing fucking Boston crabs. Like, I'm like, dude, you told me you know how to wrestle. He's like, well, you didn't specify. I'm like, well, are you fucking kidding me? So we're getting mopped. Then the tell you what happened with Jay Moore when Jay Moore asked me to coach one day?
No.
So Jay Moore, who I guess is now sober, but for a long time wasn't. He hits me up. He's like, I love wrestling. Saved my life. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, can I help coach one day? And I'm like, all right. And then I had an audition. So I tell my other coach, Aldo, I'm like, Aldo, show up for this. Jay wants to give a speech to the kids. Dude, Jay emails me what happened. It's a 13-page email. He goes, this is what I did today, right? Dude, he fucking lines the kids up. First day of middle school wrestling, right? And he goes, this is your life. Okay, you're born, you turn 2, you get your first girlfriend at 4. Then you go wrestling. Before you know it, you're smoking weed. You end up in rehab. It was like his life. He's like, then you get married. Your wife takes your money. You get on Saturday Night Live. You get fired. You get on heroin. Before you know it, you get colon cancer. Dead. Like, it's just like telling these kids they're going to die of fucking colon cancer, right? But I have the actual email, dude. It's 10 times worse than what I just explained. I'm like, fucking.
All I heard from that is that Jay Moore is also on Adderall.
Right.
Yeah, dude. Like, he goes through it. I'm like,
sober from what?
Totally. Every normal person be like, how'd it go? Fine.
Dude, I get parents hitting me up going, why did my kid say he's gonna die of colon cancer? The kid's like 10 years old. So I had to, so then Jay Moore did a lot of other sketchy shit, which I could talk to you about some other stuff. So he's no longer coaching, thank God. Anyway.
Shocker.
So anyway, we came in third. And then how was your weekend, Greg?
It was great. I was in Vegas. I did a show at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, which, his Jimmy Kimmel's sister, Jill Kimmel, is a comic, and she's a very funny gal, and she's a great gal, and I love working with her. And I know that Jimmy, they tried to book me before as a headliner for a weekend there, and I guess Jimmy said that I was hacky. And so
Jimmy Kimmel saying this.
Jimmy Kimmel said that Mr. Man Show said that I was hacky. So I was like, I feel like I deserve a better shake of that. So I really just went in there to kind of just like get on that stage and prove to everybody there that's not Jimmy Kimmel that I deserve to be there. And I crushed the fuck out of that show. And Jill was great. We went out and partied afterwards and had a great night doing karaoke and getting nuts. And then the next night, I pulled an Adam Hunter. I agreed to a show I had no business agreeing to. This guy, very funny comic, Stoner Rob, he has a show out in Pahrump. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought Pahrump was like Summerlin or Henderson, one of these little towns that's basically a suburb of Las Vegas. Oh, no. Pahrump is an hour into the Hills Have Eyes territories. Okay. Fucking, they only make one thing out there, babies and meth. Okay. So I guess two things, but so I'm out there and it's this bar show and they all know each other and, Stoner and everybody else is just talking about them and stuff. You only work for an hour. This is our brand. You're on the city council, blah, blah. Then I get up there and I'm doing all my little pithy little, jokes and nothing. And I mean, I just, they at the end, they seem to have liked it. But during, I was pretty sure they hated me.
Were they all high? Sometimes people are fucking.
I don't know. They were just fucking just like. In fact, I opened with school shootings, and this woman literally in Pahrump goes, "Too soon."
Oh God.
And I was like, "Hear me out for the rest of the routine." So I finished. They actually bought a couple T-shirts, which was a shocker. But I just wasn't. It was one of those shows where I'm like, "What am I doing here?" And why did I say yes to this? And then. And I'm not going to dig deep for you people. I'm not going to find it for, the 50 people of Pahrump. Like, right. It just wasn't, I couldn't emotionally bring myself to try harder. I did the material, I did a good job, but it wasn't my best show. Then go back to Vegas for the Dirty at 12:30, packed house. And now, how it normally is. Most of the comics that are visiting Vegas, that are doing shows around that week, come to the Dirty and hang out and do guest spots. And it's usually a show that has 5-6 comedians on it. And Gabe Lopez, the booker, the host, star, and booker of the show, he comes up to me, he goes, "Greg, I was thinking just me. I'll do 20, 25, and then just you for an hour. And then I'll come on stage and we'll do our little jam thing, which we had done the last time." And I was like, you see, like one guest spot? Like, that sounds like extra work for me. That's what that sounds like. So finally, he's like, "I bet on you, Greg. I want just you." And I'm like, "Okay, great." So I got to admit, though, I loved being able to go on earlier and do my whole set before 2:30 in the morning, because usually it's 2:30 in the morning before the headliner gets on. And this time I got on at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I was in a much better condition than I normally am. And I actually had probably one of the greatest performances I've ever had there. So that ended up being great. And then we ended up gambling till like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning or some shit. And I realized I'm out of party shape. I'm not in party shape anymore. I mean, the next day for 2 days, I've been dragging ass. So, but it was a great time, man. I loved it. It was a great weekend.
And Sean, you?
I don't really remember, so it must not have been that great. I sleep like 3 hours a night now, so every day is the same. Like every day just becomes just one molded like into one day. I did spend some time yesterday and today getting back at a car dealership, so that was fun. Leaving them multiple bad reviews and calling them and setting up an appointment to meet me after hours and not showing things like that. Because all I wanted to buy. You guys know I was in that car accident. I've been trying to buy a car now. I can't get anybody to sell me a car. Like I can't get a call back. I can't get I'm like, well, I'm paying cash. So like, if you guys would call me, I want to know, has this car ever been in an accident? Does it have any scratches or dents? Not in the pictures. Well, let's make a customer profile. They come in and see us. I was like, no, I live 2 hours from you guys. I just want to know, does that, I can't get an answer. So then I decided it'd be a good idea to start just making random reviews from multiple email addresses, telling awesome stories about that dealership, and then setting appointments and keep missing them and things. So that'll keep me busy. Probably.
You should write you are the most petty human being, and I fucking love it.
I was thinking, you're missing out on a huge business opportunity. You remember that movie Dirty Deeds?
No.
with
Dirty Work.
Dirty Work, where he would just where they would pay people to get revenge on other people before they was like Norm Macdonald and I want to say David Spade, maybe.
I think Artie Lang, right?
And Artie Lang. So okay, right. So you should really do that because no one's better.
No one's better.
At really just getting back at people in legal but highly annoying ways. Like, you really are the master of dirty deeds. And so I really think you should dirty work. I think you got to create a website, man. And who's going to fuck with you?
Meanwhile, last night I do a show. So Jay Davis is like, he has this new great show, Yamashiro. And it's like the kid who on America's Got Talent, who stutters, who came in second.
Drew Lynch, I think.
Yeah, it was Drew Lynch, and then me. And then Tiffany Haddish. I had my wife and daughter with me because I can't leave the house without Daddy crying and I want Daddy. So I take her with me because she'll fall asleep on the way home. But then I got to figure out like how to get her the headphones on during the comedy show, because she goes in there, hey, blowjob, sucking. I was getting my dick sucked by a hooker. And all of a sudden, I don't want her going to school the next day and be like, hey, so my dick sucking, so I have to figure out. But of course, the headphones that I have are the frozen ones, and they're not that good. So I have like the noise canceling ones, but I don't want the frozen one. So now we're in a fight over that at the first club. We go to the second, and Jay's like, hey, do 20 minutes, but Tiffany is running late, so you might have to stretch, right? Okay, no problem. But that's sometimes hard, because when I do 20 minutes, it's like a highlight. And then when you have to stretch, you're like, okay, stretch for 10, 20. But dude, I was on there for 55 minutes, and I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I'm just, I'm fucking crazy.
You're all on stage looking for the light. You're like, is that the light?
Dude, and Jay's out of the room looking for Tiffany, right? So right. I can't even just get off stage at any point. And like, there was an Asian guy, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you lost your balloon. Like, I'm just at that point, just fucking throwing grenades at everybody. So somebody was like, what drugs are you on? This was someone in the crowd said that. I go, I'm not on any fucking drugs. I go, I'm supposed to do 20 minutes. It's now 3 hours later. Jay's looking for Tiffany. I'm stretching. I just said, I guarantee Jay's out in the parking lot right now waving his phone at Tiffany, trying to get her. And the place went fucking ballistic. I got so many fucking texts that say, hey man, I was crying, laughing, blah, blah, blah. So that was pretty fucking cool. That was the best part. And then I took Violet to go see. Here's the problem.
Did Tiffany show up?
She did. She finally showed up. No, I don't know about Sean, if you feel like this way, but like with your kids, like if I leave for a week, it's the worst. First of all, it used to be, Greg, I would count down the days to when I leave. I'm like, oh, fuck, I leave in 3 days. How fucking great is that? 4 days. Now I'm like, fuck, I leave in 4 days, because I know how hard it's going to be. 2 days in, my wife, I miss you, we love you. 4 days in, it's like, I can't do this. I didn't sign up for this shit. Blah, blah, blah. Baby's crying. And then day 7, when I get home, it's like, oh, we love you. And then it's like, when are you leaving again? But I feel so guilty about it that I try to make it up. So I pull the kid from school, and then I take her to everything, Frozen Live, this, that, especially now she's 4. Did you do that, Sean, too, with your kids?
Man, I felt people used to ask me all the time, why don't you go do a real training camp somewhere in the UFC? And I said, dude, my son begs me every time I leave. He was at my house 4 days a week and my ex's house 3 days a week. And I would always make the days up. So I'd have him for a week when I get back, but he would beg me to take him with. Like, he's like, Dad, can you please just take me with you? I mean, at 8 years old, and I would be like, he wouldn't throw a fit, but even when I would call him on Skype, he would be teary-eyed, and stuff. And I'm sitting here getting ready to fight Pujanowski in Poland, and he's, like teary-eyed the night before. I'm like, buddy, I'll be home in 3 days. I promise. Like, I hate this job. I wish I didn't have to do this, but it was rough, man. I people all the time go away for 12 weeks. I'm like, dude, I can't leave my kids with that woman for 12 weeks. Are you out of your mind? I won't even recognize when I get back. They'll be fully indoctrinated, like it's, but my son used to ask me all the time, can you come pick me up? I would just have dropped him off. Mom's not even here. Can you come pick me up? And I'd be like, then she'd call the cops on me. So yeah, no, the guilt's real. And then the problem is you're only doing fun stuff with your kids all the time. So then they start to expect you to only
100%.
do fun stuff. Like, hey,
and also my wife's Christian. I'm Jewish, but when I come back, there's a lot of Jesus talk by my kid. Like my daughter is always like, oh, Jesus made this, Jesus made that, or Jesus, and now it's let's listen to church kids on the radio. There's a church kids, I'm just like, but I'm not, she's way more Christian than I'm Jewish. So she's like, well, you could have temple kids. I'm like, I'm not putting on temple kids just to cancel out the Christianity.
Come on, let's go see Moisha live.
Just explain to her that your people killed Jesus a long time ago, and that's that.
Thank you. Yeah, I should definitely say that.
But again, I feel like the lesson here is don't have kids. It's not mandatory. I hate to tell you this. There's a reason I don't have kids.
Greg, you have no idea, man. I've done a lot of drugs. I've done a lot of great things in life. There's literally nothing that makes me feel good as good as my kid hugging me. Like, Daddy, nothing. Like.
And there's nothing that also makes you feel as bad as they're going, why are you leaving me? Like, there's nothing greater than just waking up, making myself breakfast, and living my life.
I don't know. I honestly feel bad sometimes for people that don't have kids, just because they never know the joy that you when you have kids. And maybe I'm sure that's not going to be always the case when she's, 11.
And let's be clear, I may have kids.
What? You what?
I said when she tells you she hates you when she's 13, the first time that'll be hard to deal with because you're like, you used to be my best friend. Like, what happened? This is all your fault. And I'm like, oh, you have been being told by your mom that I cheated on her multiple times and beat her up, and that's why we got divorced when it was actually the other way around. She would call the cops. I'd be the one with the black eyes. She'd be the one that got removed from the house, and I was the abuser. So it's crazy.
All right, we're in a really good place right now.
Like I said, I may have kids.
The worst is when she's like, I want daddy to give me a bath. I want daddy. And then my wife is like, what about mommy? And she goes, maybe. I'm just like, oh, fuck. Anyway, MMA stuff. So Conor McGregor is going to coach against Michael Chandler in The Ultimate Fighter. I don't understand how that's McGregor is like 230 right now. Not even in the USADA pool, like jacked out of his fucking mind, has all kinds of cases against him. They're like, fuck it. And
which is exactly why they were like, we can have you coach on tough. Because there's no way you can't have him. Exactly. For all the reasons, there's nothing else they can have him do. They probably gave him two options. Well, we do need a new receptionist. Or you could be one of the tough coaches. I mean,
who's this coach going to be? Like the Liver King? Like who's he going to bring in to? But
the Liver King.
But the thing about it, Michael Chandler is a very beatable guy for Conor. That's almost like the perfect guy for him to fight because he's going to go straight forward. He's going to get hit, and the UFC and WME are banking on the fact that he can knock out Chandler and get his mystique back. Sean, what do you think?
Wait, what makes you think it's going to become a fight though?
No, at the end they're gonna fight.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're saying at the end of 2023, but he's not even in the USADA pool right now. But people are saying
that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that's a
no.
That's
you know,
a
at the end they're
gonna
they're gonna no. That's usually how it goes. They fight each other at the end, and they said they're gonna fight each other. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like Greg said, like at this point, what else you gonna do with him? I think they're taking Conor. I think they have big dreams of him coming back and fighting. I think he's done. That doesn't mean he can't knock out Chandler, but he doesn't want to do it anymore, man. You don't take years off, and party and go do all that stuff if you still want it. I don't understand to this day why he's juicing up trying to be bigger. Like they're going to say, they just said if he beats Chandler, he can get a title shot at 155. I'm like, but they're fighting at 170. And Dana White always says you have to fight in the weight class to get a title shot, but your previous fight, but not Conor. Why he would have a title shot winning one of his last 7 or 8 or whatever it's been, I don't know either. But other than money, money runs that whole business, man.
I was about to say, if it's one thing the UFC has proven over and over again, is that the rules apply to most fighters, but not all fighters. Like John Jones, like Conor McGregor. Like there are just some guys to whom the rules do not apply because they just make too much money for them.
I don't understand why they don't do Conor and Masvidal. They keep saying Masvidal is too big. Conor's going to lose probably to whoever he fights next, regardless. Yeah. So I don't know why, if Masvidal's lost 4 of his last 5 or whatever it is, like at least you're getting a win one way or another. Kind of like when he fought Nate Diaz. At least somebody's coming out there with a win. You know what I mean? One of your stars. So a Chandler fight may be a good fight, but I think Masvidal is a much bigger pay-per-view draw. But maybe they want to stick him against Gilbert Burns. I don't understand that fight either. Like I don't understand. Masvidal needs to win, and you're going to put him against a number 2 or 3 guy. Like I just don't. I don't know. I don't know why they do what they do.
So also, if you guys watched last week, it was a crazy week for MMA because first of all, they had Bellator on CBS, which at this point I don't even know. It's too complicated. I'm a boomer. I'm fucking old. I have all these channels and all these streams. I don't know how to watch any of it. Like I'm sitting there for 25 minutes in my remote going, how do I watch CBS? Like, because Netflix pops on, YouTube, and this and that. I go, how do I just get back? Now I'm downloading the CBS app to watch CBS, and I'm like, I don't even. And then it goes, do you have Paramount? You want Paramount Plus? I don't want fucking for $5 a month Paramount. I don't even know how to even watch anything anymore. It's too complicated for me. But I did end up watching it, but it was annoying. Bellator, of course, they put their stuff on prelims on YouTube, which is great. But the only reason I know that is because I actually know the person fighting. Like that. I was
like, I had no idea that was happening.
So they have Fedor versus Bader, right? Which also is a fight that makes no sense. Like you said, Sean, it's Fedor's last fight. He's like 50 years old. He weighs in with tighty whities with his balls hanging out, which also he's a heavyweight. Like he's not going to miss weight. Like why does he need tighty whities? to weigh
Right.
in.
It's heavyweights, yeah.
At
He
235.
barely cleared it by 30 pounds. He barely made it.
So then he goes up against Ryan Bader, and everyone's there. I mean, they bring out like Renzo Gracie and Hoist Gracie and Matt Hughes and Randy Couture, all the legends and Chael, and everyone's like this nostalgic night. And then he proceeds to get the shit beaten out of him in 30 seconds by a guy who already beat the shit out of him. Like the last time, it wasn't even close to last time. Why not put him against Mike Jackson, like you said, or against Tito Ortiz or somebody that it was just cruel. The whole thing was like.
Can I tell you, UFC had the same thing with this ancient giant Russian. First of all, I think there's a problem with the heavyweight division in that there's nobody in it, I guess. Okay. And then these poor old Russian men who clearly don't want to fight anymore. I was watching the Tamura fight versus Ivanov. And this poor, it's like when you go to a circus and the old bear is just like, you're like, this bear does not want to do this no more, guys. Like, who is making this bear fucking still do this shit? That's what this is. This old Russian bears just out there.
I mean, at least with Journey, they replaced the guy in Journey with a Filipino guy.
At least he was young and could do the job. I mean, these poor old Russians, stop making these old Russian men go out there and take my last beating. It's fucking
did you watch
horrible.
Fedor get the shit beaten out of him?
I did. It was sad, man. What's even sadder is that I like Ryan Bader. He's a nice guy, but he's obviously not taking the right supplements anymore either. I don't know if they're testing or what's going on, but like Bader didn't look great physically or in the fight, but it was sad, man. They should have stopped it earlier. I actually had a buddy of mine hit me up and want to bet on it because I think Fedor's got one left in him. He's won his last 2 or 3 or whatever. I said, dude, the first time he gets touched, he's going down. He's like, you want to bet on it? I was like, not really. I don't want to take your money, man. I said, like, he goes, I'll give you even money. I was like, dude, I don't want to do it. He's like, how much you want to bet? I was like, $10,000. Like, if you want, if you want to bet.
Yeah. It's like, you want to bet? Give me real money then. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, he goes, how about 20? I was like, dude, it's not even okay deal. 20. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even worth my time, but it's or 100 or whatever he agreed on. But like, it was sad, man. It actually really made me sad. I would say that if this was 5 years ago or my back didn't hurt so much, I would have found a way into that cage with the other legends and act like I was one of them, like Stanley. I was at Affliction before I was in the UFC. I was at the Affliction VIP party talking to Donald Trump and his son when I was 28 years old or 29 years old. I was 3-0, I think, in MMA or something or whatever. And I made it somehow past I walked in with Bill Goldberg because he tried to cut me in line. And I
can solve that mystery for you. You made it past because you're 6'7", dude. Okay, it's tough to stop you when you look like you know what you're doing. You're like, I'm not. You want to stop him? I'm not fucking stopping that dude.
That's what. It was funny because I told my son that we've gone down after Indiana University basketball games, like IU games. We'll just walk down to the floor and meet the players because I just act like I don't hear the security and act like I know where I'm going. So I'm like, excuse me, like the security walk by and they just, well, he must know where he's going, you know what I mean, or whatever. So I'll take him down there. But it's yeah, it was awesome, man. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, that guy looks just like Donald Trump with Antonio Banderas and Desperado hair. Like his son had long shoulder length hair, and it was Donald Trump Jr. And I'm sitting there like, I met Donald Trump. This is in 2005 at the Affliction show, I think 2006. And I made it to the Affliction VIP party, just walked in, but Bill Goldberg came up and said, excuse me, big fella, like that to get in. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you're next. Like I said, he was like, he looked at me, he goes, huh? I said, you know, you're Bill Goldberg. He's like, yeah. And I was like, never mind, dude. And then I saw him in an elevator a few years later, and my friend goes, hey, look, it's Bill Goldberg. He goes, sorry, no pictures today, guys. I said, oh, I didn't know you wanted a picture with me, Bill. I said, I don't have a camera, man. Sorry. And he was like, I meant that he's a prick. I can't stand it, dude. But
dude, I have a friend, me and my friend Noah Schwartz, my best friend back in college, at high school. He was like the funniest dude. We snuck into Mosley versus Vernon Forrest at MSG. It was like, we had the front row seats at like, I don't know how we did it, right? And we get there, and then Noah goes, who's fighting?
Dude, I'm the guy that they stop every time. Oh, not just like at TSA, I'm pre-check still. I'm like, oh, what's the problem? Like random check. I'm like, really? Every time I'm the random? Like, this doesn't feel very random, guys. One time I'm with a whole group, my whole improv troupe. We're walking into this bar. We're on the road somewhere, and we're walking into this bar, and we're all walking in. And right when I go past, the bouncer goes, I want to see your ID. like I'm always one time we're getting on a flight, and I'm on, and I'm opening for this celeb comic, and he's like, just come on with me. And they go, yeah, just say you're his security. I'm like, now we're all getting kicked off the flight for lying. No, you guys go ahead. Y'all stay with my coach seat. It's fine.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You always find the latest football odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on your favorite sports and events. Bet Major League Baseball, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code CLNS50 to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts.
What's up, people? Listen, I got to talk to you about HelloFresh. All right. Now, with HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. My wife and I, we had the best meal we've had in ages, thanks to HelloFresh. I'm telling you, you could skip trips to the grocery store and you can count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's number one meal kit. Not number two, not number three, number one. Look, we all have New Year's goals, right? Well, HelloFresh is here to help you achieve them. Skip the grocery store and take control of your time and budget with delicious recipes delivered right to your door. Are you looking for an easy way to eat well and save money this year? I know I am. Okay. So cut back on those expensive takeout and delivery. Yeah. You go out there, it's gas, and you get there and you got to pay for parking and this and that. It annoys you. Listen, HelloFresh has you covered. Okay. You'll love how fast, easy, and affordable it is to just whip up a recipe and you get a restaurant quality meal right in your own kitchen. All right. Eating well is top of the mind this month. It's comforting to know you'll always get top quality with HelloFresh. The ingredients travel all the way from the farm to you in less than 7 days. So you know they're fresh, okay? I'm telling you, my wife, we've had the greatest meals. I'm so happy for HelloFresh, all right? So you got to do this. Go to HelloFresh.com/roasted21 and use code roasted21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping, okay? HelloFresh.com/roasted21 and use code roasted21, like I just said, for 21 free meals plus free shipping. All right. Check out HelloFresh, America's number one meal kit.
They did prove, a guy did a YouTube video that if you carry a ladder with you, you can get in anywhere.
Really?
So you go in these places carrying a ladder and say, excuse me, I'm going past security because you're carrying a ladder. Obviously, you're there to do maintenance or something. So like there's YouTube videos of this guy getting in all kind of concerts and stuff, just carrying a ladder. It's the most amazing thing ever. And like some tools on his belt, or whatever. And then
that is another genius, because a ladder isn't something you could just like put in your pocket and bring. When you come out with a tape measure, they're going to be like, but if you're carrying a ladder, that feels like you work there. I like that. That's pretty genius.
I've become a master at like combat sports, like being in the moment. Like I walked Roy Jones Jr. out for his last fight before he fought Tyson. It was supposed to be a retirement fight. I just happened to be backstage and I saw Roy Jones Jr. walking through. He was the main event of that thing. I was backstage because I knew the promoter and I was like, I just worked my way in, and on the camera, like on the pay-per-view, I'm walking right behind Roy Jones Jr. As if I'm his corner man. It was great. So yeah, I just always
my favorite woman ever is the black interpreter. You ever see that woman?
Yeah, sign language lady.
Dude, that lady, she had like, there's like 50 times where she doesn't know any kind of sign language, but she gets up there and starts doing all these weird things. And people were like beyond offended because if they know sign language, they're like, but she doesn't even get paid for it. She volunteers and then just does all this crazy. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. She gets like arrested for it.
You guys saw the kid that got on the video game awards, right? And went up and said he wanted to thank his rabbi, Bill Clinton, and all this and that, like on the microphone. Did you see that?
No.
There's some
but if there were any award show
that you were going to crash,
that I feel you could crash, even I could get away with shit at the video game awards. I feel like not the tightest security there.
So what happened?
He's like a YouTuber or something. I think I first saw him on a video where these girls, he was saying that women are stupid, and he's like he seems Arab or something, like his accent, and he was like he's saying women are stupid. The woman's like, she said something. He's 15 years old. He goes, really? What's the last book you read? And she was like, Game of Thrones. He goes, that's not a book, that's a TV show. And the girl didn't know what to say, or whatever. And so he said, name 10 books just that exist, 10 books. And she couldn't come up with 3. Like she had no idea, She was like, Harry Potter. He goes, that's not a book, that's a series, But yeah, all of a sudden I saw a thing on YouTube. He's at the Video Game Awards. And
those are all books, though, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. I guess a book of something. But he sneaks up on the Video Game Awards and says he wanted to thank his rabbi Bill Clinton and this and that. He's just saying real weird stuff, and the people that the game developers are all staring at him. But he got arrested. He's only 15, but they arrested him, took him out of there. But yeah, I guess he's a YouTuber. I don't know. He's funny though.
Well, I'll tell you how he got in there. It was left, right, up, down, X, Y.
DA start. That was the password. Wearing masks like eyes wide shut. What's the password?
Greg, you should do it on stage. That's really funny. It's a really funny bit. All right. So in Bellator, Tall Steve. You watch his fight? So
I did not. No, man. I didn't get to see it.
So Tall Steve, friend of our show, a really good friend who gave us a shout out during his press conference. So he fights this guy, I think it was Asayev, who won the PFL $1 million heavyweight. And he kind of loses the first round, but he's doing like more submission from bottom. Second round, he takes him down. And this guy is an Olympian wrestler. He outstruck him probably 400-2. Like, I don't know how
Tall Steve did.
Yeah,
Tall Steve outstruck him.
Beat the shit out of him. It was a 10-8. It almost could have been a 10-7. Like, other reps would have easily stopped it.
Yeah,
and then the third round, that guy takes Steve down. So it was a draw. It was just like, it was just a weird fight. Lorenz Larkin landed an elbow from hell that was unbelievable. Henry Corrales won his fight. I felt bad for this guy, Max Sarashov, because he was a guy that has, like, he witnessed his, stepmom or his mom getting thrown out the window by his stepdad when he was younger, all kinds of crazy trauma. Then he had a fight where he wanted to quit and his corner kept telling him to go out. And he's like, no, I quit. And then it was just really, then he won his next 2 fights, but he lost to Chris Gonzalez. All right. So that was that. The UFC, you guys watched it. I called it. Derek Lewis. I like Derek Lewis, but he's a guy that did so much with natural talent. I remember one time during his fight, he was on the bottom and he just stood up basically from being in mount. And Brian Stan was like, he's doing everything wrong, technically, but it's still working for him.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that would like lose all these rounds and just have that crazy uppercut or this, that. Well, finally, when you do that, it catches up to you. And I just think he's playing catch up because he got ragdolled and finished quickly. Did you guys watch this? Did you watch it, Sean?
I did. I watched pretty much all of this card.
I watched part of it and kind of lost interest, man, because if he's not there to fight, man, it doesn't really when he fought Ngannou, man, I think I turned off the pay-per-view and didn't even finish watching the rest of the fights. I was so mad because I thought that of all fights would be a good one to you guys just stare at each other, but it's sad, man. He's got a lot of personality, and I think now he's made some money. Those dudes, man, need to be poor again sometime. You know what I mean? Like I had forgotten when I used to have money what it was like to be poor, you know what I mean, or whatever. And then when I lost everything again, I was like, I will deal cocaine before I live like this. You know what I mean? Like, and turns out I did Viagra, deal with that instead of cocaine. But no,
Yes, you detailed the details of those transactions for us in the last episode of MMA Roasted. I give you 25 cents a pill.
That was a good idea. But the guys lose that motivation, man. They forget that money's not forever, man. I don't know if you guys have tried to not work for a couple of years, but it goes fast, man. Like it's
like Sinbad. Sinbad said you're funniest when you're riding the bus.
You stay hungry. That's the thing. I thought this would be a good fight for Derek Lewis until you showed me him doing all that cardio and losing weight. And then I'm like, maybe not. And then sure enough, he got out there and it wasn't even close. It wasn't much of a fight. I felt really bad. It was a terrible fucking fight. He made Spivak look like a fucking champ.
Yeah. Now Devin Clark, who I was happy for, because there's a guy that was I think it was a national champion in Division II. He kept one of those guys. He would get tired or he would lose the close ones. I've never seen legs like this on a fighter.
Oh my God. Tree trunks.
Greg, you watch football. Is that the average running back's legs?
Yes, that's all I kept thinking was this guy should be a running back in the NFL. He's Quadzilla. He's one of those guys. He's and he's also one of those guys that carries so much muscle that I mean, we've seen it over and over again. He's going to have cardio issues. Like you get him to the third round, and it's probably going to be a problem. He was lucky that didn't happen, but I mean, it for a second it looked like it might.
Sean, I've never seen like his legs were like this, and then they just went in. It was like his legs were like other people's waists. Like it's just I don't even know how you even get to that's. I mean, it's got to have part genetics, but obviously hard work. You can't just have that. But holy shit, this dude. I was happy.
Like if we ate people, and we don't, but if we did, he looks like he'd be delicious. That's all I'm saying.
Now the UFC, I gotta say, it was a reality show called The Road to the UFC, which I guess airs in India and maybe the Philippines or Asia. And this was the finals. Where like, so I turn on the UFC and they're like, the winner it gets to be in the UFC. But I'm like, I thought I was watching the UFC. So they basically tricked everybody by putting Derek Lewis on the card into watching something where I'm like, if I don't know what I'm watching. I'm watching. Which
we had been wondering. We'd openly been speculating about why. And I think what you're talking about, I think they announced that with that Kazama Nakamura fight.
Yeah.
You know? And I noticed that too. I'm like, what do you mean? Is this a qualifier of some kind? Like, I didn't understand it either.
Because it was a reality show that only aired in India or something. Like no one even knew what was going on.
Only 1.5 billion people saw it.
Which is great, but they should
but none that we know.
Right.
No.
Except the guy that sends me Viagra.
So except for that guy. So that was that. And then I gotta say, man, there was something kind of sad about like Bellator having all those guys in the ring, right? So I'm watching Bellator, you see all these fucking legends. I mean, guys that you're just like the Henzo and this or that. And then you put on the UFC, the website, and they had this TikTok guy, Aiden Ross. So I don't know who this guy is, but he's got like 1 billion followers. And he's like, and they're like, Aiden Ross has the best seat in the house. So they have him on the UFC Twitter, and he's like, yo, I'm here at the fights. It's ceramic. Like, I don't know what I think he meant to be.
They used a heavy glaze. These fights were baked in a kiln for over 38 minutes.
All his analogies are
fuck is it? Anytime they put these guys on traditional media, it's glaring the difference between when you're just making shit up on your own in your room and you're actually a professional media personality. Because anytime they put Pat McAfee on like actual CBS Sports desk, it's fucking dumb.
Hold on, I want to see if I want to see if because I gotta say I mean, I don't know,
ceramic.
Man. I mean, there was something about that. Like, there's something about
Miami.
Like, I understand they're trying to get a younger market to like the UFC, but there's no reason you shouldn't have Pat Miletich and Tito and Jens Pulver and Matt Hughes.
Can we talk about the female commentator?
Oh yeah, what about her?
Well, what did you think?
I thought she was fine. I've actually listened to her for a long time because she does Invicta and she does other things. I think she did LFA or something. So she's I thought she was fine. I think she had a lot of pressure on her. Because
you kind of sense that. I felt like she was trying really hard to just talk about fundamentals of fighting. Like really, like he needs to, a lot of stuff about base.
I think being the first
stuff like that.
Yeah, I think being the first female girl, she had this amount of pressure on her, and I think that's what made it. And then also,
I will say this.
Yeah.
She clearly knew what she was talking about. But I mean. I found her voice. I don't know. I found it grating. I just didn't like. Every time she would start talking, it would take me out of the fight. Right. Like I would immediately just be like, "Who is this woman? And why is she?" I don't know. And the other thing I thought was, I mean, here we are using real fighters with with extensive experience. I'm like, why don't we have Carla Esparza? Doing some commentary.
I agree, but she's had a couple fights. This girl had a couple fights.
I'm not saying she didn't have a couple fights. Again, she knew what she was talking about. I just was like, I would rather hear from a female fighter that I felt really knew what it was like to be in
Like
there.
Misha Tate.
Yes, Misha Tate. Yes, there's Holly Holm. There's so many other women that have the highest level experience that really know what it's like at that level.
Angela
Hill. Yes. Angela Magana, like just other women. And to me, for me, it was a miss.
All right,
for
so
me,
Greg,
I wasn't against the female thing. I was against that female.
So what does this mean? Hold on.
Ada Ross here at the UFC fights with my boy Big Ant, my boy Josh, man. Private viewing, it's crazy. Ceramic. I love it.
Maybe that cup is ceramic and not plastic, and we're just misunderstanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious. It's ceramic. Listen, guy. Like I said, this thing's been glazed. It's been cooked in a kiln at 3,500 degrees for over 45 minutes.
Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? All right, so
I'm surprised Brendan Schaub hasn't said it yet. If you watch his show, he said the other day that Curtis Blades, his nickname is Blades because he has sharp elbows. And I was like, no, that's his last name.
Yeah.
He's like, plus it rhymes with his last name, Blades. Like, it's
all
like,
right.
Just.
So before we get into the fights this week, so it got it out.
Ceramic.
Jorge Masvidal.
It comes with a matching bowl and plate set.
People were putting that ghost meme of Patrick Swayze doing this.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So Masvidal has a new boxing card. It's airing on Fight Pass. Anthony Pettis is fighting Roy Jones Jr. on it.
So wait a minute. So he's invented his own fight league now.
Yes.
He's got two. He's got actually three. He's got boxing, bare knuckle MMA, and MMA.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm not against it. At least he's a real fighter, you know?
But Roy Jones Jr., is it the same weight class? Him and Pettis? Isn't Pettis fight at 55?
Roy Jones has to be 200 pounds last time I saw him, man. So I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I think he fought Tyson at like 210.
I was about to say, wasn't he fighting at heavyweight?
Yeah. His last couple of pro fights were at light heavyweight or cruiser.
Even still, Pettis isn't even a light heavyweight.
No.
And then Aldo is fighting Jeremy Stevens on this card in boxing. Jacare is boxing against Vitor Belfort. I think that's going to be a murder. Vitor Belfort's juiced out of his mind, and Jacare is a jiu-jitsu specialist. Paul Daly fighting Anthony Taylor. That's the guy that, he was the guy that slapped Dylan Dennis or punched him. And then Gina Mazzani, my old friend, she's a buddy, is fighting Pearl Gonzalez on this card. So,
you know what's sad, man? I don't know how many pay-per-views will sell. If that was an MMA card, it's better than most UFC pay-per-views lately. Like if they put those guys fight each other in MMA, yeah. I would watch that. I would love to watch that over the stuff that no one you've ever heard of who's making $8,000 to fight, like on 90% of the card. Like I really looked at the next 4 pay-per-views. I'm not watching any of them unless it's free. Like I'm not. Can I
tell you that the one on the undercard, the Taira versus Aguilar, and the Aguilar's from Mexico, and obviously you're so Latino. I wanted to see him do well, but it seemed like his only major credit was that he had the shortest arms in the history of the UFC. And now I watched enough fighting to know that's not a good thing.
And Nick Newell was like, wait a damn minute here.
Yeah. I mean, sure enough, he went out there, went for a submission, couldn't hold on to it with his tiny little T-Rex arms. And then Tara got on his back and fucking submitted him. So, I mean, it was over pretty quickly, but I felt pretty bad for the guy.
Well, nothing with Bellator once had a thing that said has 12 siblings. That was a stat. I'm like, how is that?
That ranks right up there with shortest arms in the history of the UFC.
Did I ever tell you guys
he should be in there?
Did I ever tell you guys what I made my UFC profile? I didn't think they would actually put it on the site, but they did. They asked for my strengths, and I put size, athleticism, and very internet savvy. And they announced my fights. It actually on my profile says very internet savvy. And they actually, when they came out, and said he's also very savvy on the internet. We hear, so we'll see how that works out. Like it was, I don't know, it was great, man.
So this week we got Islam versus
ceramic. I don't know.
Islam versus Volkanovski. A lot of people were complaining that this is not getting. People are not talking about this, and I think that's valid. I mean, this is an amazing fight. But Dana said it's going to be like they said top 6 pay-per-views of all time, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know. I can't see how that's happening unless you go, well, all of Australia, and then Islam is a huge, obviously, you got all the Middle East, and, there are a lot of people who are Muslim in this world who love Islam, and a lot of people who aren't Muslim also love him. But so you got Islam versus Volkanovski. I just think it's going to be a good big guy versus a good smaller guy, and Islam's going to win. Sean,
he should win fairly easily.
I hate boy. Same. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I will say that if it's going to be the 6th pay-per-view of all time, it'll be interesting to see what those guys get paid, because I guarantee you they're not going to make more than $1 million each, you know what I mean, or whatever. So it's weird the UFC can make $100 million on a pay-per-view, but the pay raise, like, it's the biggest pay-per-view of all time. Of course, everybody will still be making 8 and 8, on the undercard. Like, it's like amazing, man.
Well, I think Islam is with Ali Abdelaziz, and he does get his guys paid
Naturally.
So Volkanovski, Islam, I guess it's sold out. It's in Perth. I've never been to Australia. You ever been to Australia? You have, right, Sean?
Yeah, I've been to both Sydney and Melbourne, both, and you could not have 2 more different cities in one country, man. It's crazy. It's Australia's a whole nother experience, man. It is. I had a giant spider crawl on my neck. I thought it was like somebody's hair had walking down the street at a downtown area with skyscrapers. I thought like someone's hair hit. Boy, did I reach around, a spider the size of the palm of my hand was on me. So it was Melbourne was probably 80% Asian. Not that it matters, but the traffic problems were ridiculous. That was a weak joke. But it was, I would say 80%, 85% Asian in Melbourne. It's really strange. It's a strange city.
I haven't been to Australia, but everything I've heard about it from friends who have, it's basically land of the lost. Like, it is a prehistoric land down there with shit you don't want to fuck with, and kangaroos aren't nice. And all that giant spiders and flying fucking lizards and shit. Like, it's apparently a whole nother world down there in Australia, man.
Well, they say that it was originally like they put criminals there, right? Like back in the day.
Yeah, it was a criminal colony established by the British. Yep. Which is why they're so physically large people, I guess.
Volkanovski.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. If anybody can give Islam a run for his money, that a guy that's proven it over and over again, every time I doubt Volkanovski, he proves me wrong, and I hope he does it again. But I'm with McCorkle on this one, and I'm with you, Adam. It seems like Islam should do what he always does, which is go out there, tangle him up, get him on the ground, tie up his legs, and fucking pound it. I mean, I think that's I don't see it working out any other way, and I don't see it being a particularly long fight.
Is that he used to be 230 pounds though? That's the thing. He was a 230 pound rugby player. So maybe when
Volkanovski was?
Yeah.
Is he like 5'3"?
Yeah, he used to be like 200 and something pounds.
That's awesome. I need to see one of those pictures. That'd be awesome. So
maybe because of that is why he could be so powerful and take the power, maybe, and why he's so maybe, but
maybe I would love to see it. I really would, because again, if anybody can do it, it's gonna be Volkanovski. I don't see it happening, but I can see throwing away, a couple bucks at it. Let's see let's check what the odds are.
Also,
they're not showing odds right now.
I'm curious what the odds were on that, because it should be 5-1. I would think Makhachev.
No, it's way less than that.
Hold on, I'm going to look it up right now.
I think it's like
the UFC fight site isn't actually showing odds.
Oh, by the way, they made it now that you
that
can
fight.
Now
go to James Krause's site.
Well, now you could bet on slap boxing, by the way, or on slapping,
because that can't be fixed.
I was going to say, are you betting on whether or not I watch?
I bet you this time next year it won't be on TV anymore if anybody wants that bet.
No, according to Dana White, it's killing it. But he goes, right now they're beating the WWE and everything on TikTok. He goes, on TikTok we get 14 million views. But is that how we're counting ratings now?
Dude, I can make a video on TikTok and get 14 million views. Those are so fake, so inflated. The same video, I've got a tow truck driver I know who thinks he's famous because he gets 80 to 100,000 views on TikTok. And I'm like, dude, they're inflating the numbers. Put that same video on Instagram, see how many people you get. Like, put it on anything. Like, that's why it's so popular. People are like, I got 7 million views on TikTok. Like, Maybe.
But also, like, are they monetizing TikTok with that? Because even if you get that, like, I gotta think
TikTok doesn't pay very well, and you can pay them to just, and that's the other thing. If you pay them, I feel like they just change the numbers, like blah, 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 blah. I don't think anybody actually sees it. They're just like, oh, look, you have 30,000 fucking views. Like, I think it's just, I mean, all of it is digital manipulation, and there's no way to check it. There's no verification of any kind.
It's like Shab and all these Gary V and all these get rich quick gurus. They got 3 million followers on Twitter, and they put a tweet out there and it gets 6 likes. I'm like, so 6 out of 3 million people following you like that tweet? That's really strange. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, it's, you can buy Twitter followers. The problem is you'll always see the guys, they offer them to me all the time. Would you like to buy 100,000 Twitter followers for $29? I'm like, no,
yeah, totally.
They'll get erased off there every now and then. They do a reset, and then you lose all your followers.
I just copy and paste their thing and get it right back to them.
Right. They when I was in the UFC, I had, I think, over 40 or 50,000 followers on my own. And then they did some kind, I don't know, I got suspended or something. I came back, I had 8,000. I was like, so you guys just removed 45,000 of my followers, you know what I mean? That were actually engaging and talking to me back and forth. And I had several people tell me, I thought I followed you on Twitter, but I guess not. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I actually, I do know. I probably said something ridiculous, and that's what made it happen. But
you know what was weird? When I was dancing around the 10,000 follower mark, like I would get right up to 10,000, then somehow lose 800 followers. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? What, you know, it's like they didn't want me to cross the 10,000. Then once I crossed it, then it kept building. But it was weird the way they kept me dancing around the 10,000 right beneath it for months. You know, I didn't know how they were doing it. I didn't know why they were doing it, but it just kept happening.
Yeah.
By the way, talking about the odds really quickly on the Makhachev Volkanovski fight, Islam is -400. This is on Bovada, by the way. Islam is -400 and Volkanovski is +295.
Oh, wow.
So 3 or 4 to 1, depending on how you look at it.
But dude, yesterday, so I like read my website, and now I get people all day long from India calling me up about like, oh, but you know, and I know it because it's like a pause when you pick up the phone. They're trying to do text, someone to sell me something, right? So first I'm like, okay, do you like a domain? I'm like, I want the domain stopcallingme.com, leavemealone.com. Like, so then finally yesterday I was on the computer when they called, and I'm like, hold on 1 second. And I just put on porno, and I go, cut. I'm like, I'm at work right now. I go, action. And I put the like people fucking, I go, cut. I'm like, what were you saying? And the guy's like, well, I was hoping. I go, and then I go, hold on. So like, I do this like 5 times. Like,
you know, I gotta get on Adderall. I gotta get on Adderall. I'm missing out on so much fun that you guys have. I don't think about any of this shit. I'm like, I just like don't recognize that number, not answering.
Oh, dude, my wife looks at me and goes, "You should be so proud." All right, Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's a guy who gets no respect. You ever see that video he put where the UFC gave him seats and it was like in the bleachers? And then
I've had that happen to me though.
He like tweeted about it. He's like, I'm ranked 3 in the world, and this is the seats they gave me or something. And then I think he beats Yair Rodriguez. It's for the interim featherweight title, which is also crazy. That
is surprising.
How is that? I guess because is that because
if you don't defend your title in 24 hours after you win it, it's an interim belt. It really is, man. They got to attach belts to everything.
Yeah, I know. It's like they always do that interim thing. It's like, or you just wait for the champ to be able to fight again. You know, like
why not just do the WWE, the heavyweight championship, the intercontinental, the whatever US heavyweight? Like they just had all kind of different belts, so some belt was always on the line. But I did email and write on Twitter to the Florida State Athletic Commission because they had a WWE event down there, and they said it was unsanctioned. Like the main event was an unsanctioned fight, and I was like, "Get it together, Florida State Athletic Commission." You guys or whatever, and they responded back and said that they would look into it. You know, like I loved it, the greatest thing ever. Like it was
awesome. Randy Brown, Rude Boy, is fighting Jack Della Maddalena. Randy Brown's one of those guys that always wins fights. I think he's going to lose, and then loses the one.
Okay, so I guess the thing is that Volkanovski is the featherweight champ.
Yeah, so he's going up. So if he wins, he can't.
So because he vacated to go up, then although that makes zero sense to me. Like he should still be the featherweight champ.
So he can't be the double champ like everybody else. Then he has to vacate to move up and fight a weight class, even though.
And by the way, the number 1 is Max Holloway, who is not fighting for the interim title.
Right.
They have one version. Brian Ortega is 3. Why isn't Brian Ortega
I guess,
here? Where's
I mean,
Arnold Allen?
I think I maybe show him. Is it the fear that like a guy just collects all the belts? And then
no, they've proven that they sell. All people know is they see someone with a belt, so it has to be, it's kind of like a guy wearing Rolex to prove he's rich, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
The casual fan looks and there's a belt on the line. They've proven that there's more buys when there's a belt on the line. It doesn't matter what the belt is. Like one of their biggest things ever was the BMF belt, which was just completely made up, had no criteria, never was anything, and so I can't believe they don't have him defend that every time like that. I mean, you just make up titles, man. But yeah, they do interims anytime anybody takes a month off. Like there was an interim heavyweight championship when Francis Ngannou hadn't fought in 2 months. They did an interim championship. It's like, dude, how long was John
fighting? They're fighting for the lightweight belt then, right? Volkanovski and Mikhail.
No, it said interim. Well, no, it says they're fighting for the lightweight belt.
Right. Okay. So because of that, he's I guess. See, that makes no sense. So because he's fighting in a different weight class to make your fight work, the one that's going to sell the pay-per-views, you got to give the belt to somebody else. Like, oh my God, this organization is so truly just
they'll do a unification. They'll do a unification bout with him when he goes back down, even if he loses. It's so stupid, man. And I guarantee you the lightweight belt, there'll be an interim fight after this one, because if either guy gets hurt and they can't fight for 3 or 4 months, you'll have an interim lightweight championship, and then Makhachev will come back and fight him. It's just, why not make every contenders fight just an interim, like all of them, or every top 10 guys? This is for the interim second place belt, like it's so stupid.
It's just crazy.
Those belts don't even hold up your pants very good. That's what's so ridiculous about the whole thing. Like you can't even wear it,
that's nuts. And then also,
I feel like that you guys didn't get that.
I did. I caught it late because I was looking at the card, and then I was like, did he talk about holding his pants up?
I heard it, but I was just like,
I'm like, how would you know, McCorkle? I'm kidding.
I'm just joking. Adam is the one person ever who will get my Nick Newell joke. Like no one will take the time to Google.
No, that's hilarious. But Nick Newell has one arm, so he says that guy has the shortest reach. That was the funniest joke I've heard in a long time. That was like
it'll go over everyone's head.
But the thing is that Nick Newell would fucking die laughing at that. Nick Newell is a great
speaker.
So by the way, Phil Baroni, little update on this. So now they're saying he's got some guy. I don't know where.
I can't wait.
I was gonna say, and now the true crime portion of the podcast.
So I don't know where they find these lawyers, but there's a guy working the case who looks like looks like he's out of where I gotta find this. I mean,
post a picture of him. I'll tell you exactly what he looks like. I'm an expert at naming what retarded version of a celebrity people look like.
Now they're saying that the girl, so John Alite is helping Baroni.
John, you mean the pretend mobster?
But wasn't he a real mobster that killed?
He wasn't Italian, so he was never in the mob. He hung around John Gotti Jr. as one of his slackies, and then claims he's shot over 100 people. And killed over 100 people, but he was only charged with one murder. And he ratted. He calls Sammy the Bull a rat all the time, but he got out of jail by ratting. So I don't know how you rat people out and then you call other people rats. It's the craziest thing ever. That'd be like Brendan Schaub calling you guys hacky. It doesn't. I don't understand.
But there's a new guy now who's helping Baroni, who says he's a lawyer, or he works for a law firm. But then he also says he's also an entertainer. He says he's an entertainer too.
most lawyers do moonlight as an entertainer. I've found most guys work their way through law school as
Please tell me he's a Sinatra impersonator.
It's not like he's a lawyer impersonator.
Well, now they're saying that Baroni left for an hour to get food or to get cigarettes and beer.
Cigarettes,
and that the cartel came and killed a woman. This is what this alleged came and then framed Baroni. So that's okay. So this guy, hold on.
Because if there's anything I know about the Mexican mafia, they frame people for their murder. They don't hang them from bridges.
So the guy's name is the King of Connecticut, right?
Hold on. Oh no, I know who you're.
The King of the Nutmeg State. Okay.
The King of Connecticut.
That was a good joke.
Thank you.
I know
Greg knows Connecticut's the nutmeg state. That's all.
I know you have to hold on. I know you have to go soon. So we're going to end with this.
I got to leave. Oh shit.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's that guy's name is he's on my Facebook friends list.
Shooters shall be
Well, he seems very legit.
So Baroni, reporting with him. Remember, just after Thanksgiving, it was his last interview before.
All right, which celebrity are you going to say
Okay.
looks like McCoy?
So this guy's on the case now.
I was going to go, for me, I'm going with Hulk Hogan. I think he looks like he's a Hulk Hogan impersonator.
So he's working the case for Phil. Sean, why do you follow this guy on Facebook?
No, we're friends on Facebook. He actually hit me up the other day and wanted to know if I wanted to get in a class action lawsuit against Dana White in the UFC. I was like, nah, man, I'm good. I would never do anything. Dana's helped me out, But he's a nice enough guy. He's also a pro wrestler. So he does pro wrestling.
So the Hulk Hogan thing wasn't that far off.
Yeah, he was trying to start a beef with Ric Flair for the longest time. Like if you his page is fairly entertaining if you get on there. He does pro wrestling. He does a little bit of
he's a lawyer too. He's a lawyer.
I maybe self-taught. I think he's like how like
that sounds right. That sounds right.
In Good Will Hunting, now like how what's his name? Matt Damon wasn't classically educated. I think it's kind of like
this is who's working Baroni's case.
Right. Yeah. It's I think
that tells you more about Baroni's case than anything else. Hey, listen, guys, catch me this weekend. I'm going to be at the Stir Crazy Comedy Club Super Bowl weekend coming up Friday and Saturday night in Glendale, Arizona. So if you happen to be that rare individual that both listens to this podcast and can afford to go to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be there at Stir Crazy. Or if you just happen to live in the Phoenix area, come on out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Sean, what do you got coming up?
Let me see. Seemed like something. No, nothing. Nothing I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm still laughing at the fact that that you follow the King of Connecticut.
Yeah, no, we're friends on Facebook, man. He posts a lot. I'll send you a couple of his videos.
Seems like a nice guy, though. You're right.
Yeah.
He does seem like a nice guy. And then also, that guy who from Detroit who teaches you self-defense, the black guy who's like the worst self-defense guy in the world.
Yeah.
So he posted a new video of how, if a guy has you in an arm bar, right, in a street fight, which, I mean, who are you fighting? You're fighting, who are you fighting that has an arm bar? You're fighting Henzo or something? But basically, to get out of it, you bite the guy's ass.
I know that's what Bruce Buffer tries when he trains all the time. Like that's his move. Him and Dominic Cruz developed that with each other over an amount of time. So he should have had the guy, the I Eat Ass guy, to help him do the demonstration video. That would have been amazing.
He bites the guy's, which actually may be effective, biting the guy's ass. But I mean, like, I don't know if you need to a lesson for that. Anyway, I will be in Las Vegas at the Laugh Factory from February 27th to March 4th. You're the best, Sean. And
I want to tell you real quick too, man. I forgot. We're talking about that Bruce Buffer fight or whatever.
Yeah.
I had a guy that was there when he got into it with Frank Trigg, and I heard right before the fight started, they heard a voice say, kind of like sound like an announcer's voice say, somebody keeps talking shit, they're going to end up getting their dick sucked. Like that was the threat that was the threat out. And I think Frank Trigg didn't like being threatened like that, so he went certified.
I can't believe you actually knew someone that heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What a coincidence. You know so many fucking crazy people.
Yeah, I get rumors sent to me all the time. So,
but Sean, you're the best, and have a great week, brother.
All right, buddy. See you, man.